All right, welcome to the Sushi Forum, where we discuss this week's news, proposals, and developments in the Sushi Swap ecosystem. This week, as always, I'm joined by my co-host Orion. How you doing, Orion?
Doing good.
Crypto's up, so it's a good week.
Yeah, much needed recovery.
And so just to start off with the Sushinomics, the price is up to 13.92 right now. I think it recovered up to like 14.50 or something like that, and now it's sort of dipping down from that. But a good recovery on sushi from its lows of like $10, I think is where it bottomed out about. The 24-hour trading volume over the past week has been 430 million per day, which is pretty good. That's about 10% utilization. All right, so moving on to news and developments. This week we had another interview by Aoki Roll come out. This time she interviewed I'm Software, one of the core devs. It's a really great interview, as always, when she puts it out. I really like these text interviews. I think it gives the devs a lot of opportunity to give detailed responses. And you could find that on the SushiSwaporg Medium website page, I guess.
Is that a new medium? Was it always SushiSwaporg?
There was, I believe, an older Medium that had only two posts on it, basically like the origin sushi swap creation post, and then the post about it might have been Bento Box, or if not Bento Box, it
Yeah.
was something like that. It was only like two, and then they transitioned to a new medium. So yeah, the Sushi Swap org is it's not like recently new, but in terms of history, it's new, I guess. And additionally, sushi is now available on Gemini, which is pretty awesome. You can deposit your sushi into Gemini. I'm pretty sure you start earning some yield over there. And I think Gemini also has a debit card. So if you have a Gemini account, you could deposit your sushi over there, and or your X sushi. I don't. Well, actually, I'm not sure. I haven't investigated that. I don't know if they let you deposit X sushi, but you can at the very least deposit your sushi and use that as money for your debit card, which is pretty cool. Have you set
Yeah, I didn't
up
even know.
any crypto debit cards, Orion?
No, I haven't. I mean, as a US person, it's kind of limited, but yeah, I hadn't pursued it. I do one eventually once they get streamlined. I did not even know they had a credit card or an earn function on that. Gemini is doing a lot of big things.
Yeah, yeah. The rewards on their card is actually like, I mean, it's hard to. I haven't actually compared it to whatever like Apple is giving, but compared to like normal debit cards, credit cards, the rewards on the Gemini card are like insane. It's like 2% or 3% back in Bitcoin. But yeah, a lot of stuff going on with that. Moving on, we had a Cashy deep dive tutorial plus Q&A, uh, hosted by Phantom Hierophant. He's a YouTube creator. You can find him on Twitter at F Hierophant. Um, it's a long word that I don't want to spell out, but I have faith in everybody that's listening; they can figure it out. And yeah, was actually listening in. It's a great sort of a primer and tutorial on Cashy if you are unsure about how to use it, or like how to use it to stack your yields and stuff like that. Cashy is, you should absolutely, if you're not using Cashy to get some extra sushi on the side, then you know,
You're not doing it right. Yeah, it
exactly.
was a I felt it was, like, a little bit slow and disorganized, but it's great to see Sushi getting that outreach on YouTube, because these type of resources like, if he could have an edited down version of that, that'd be amazing. Because I think a lot of people are intimidated by Kashi because it's, like, a little convoluted to do, and you gotta figure out which one's supplying and make sure you have the right one for the one that will actually get you yields and stuff, so it's great to see this. And that online
Yeah.
presence with that and the Maki interview and stuff, love seeing the marketing, Medium posts.
Yeah, there's been a lot of marketing, a lot of outreach lately. Um which is pretty awesome. And so just moving on, we have the newest index from Indexed Finance. The Error Index features sushi as its largest allocation at 25%. And the Error Index is basically I mean, there's details to how they break down the actual allocations in terms of like how they come up with those numbers. But essentially, they are looking at the tokens held by 0xB1, which is
Oh,
like a notorious, DeFi wallet.
yeah,
That's
crypto
pretty.
hedge fund, right? Isn't he a hedge
It's
fund? I don't know.
well, I don't. I mean, he might be a hedge fund. They might be a hedge fund. I say he. They might be a hedge fund.
Yeah.
It's like $500 million. I think is what's managed under that wallet. So yeah, it's probably definitely some organization. I have no idea who though. If you know though, drop drop the alpha man.
Yeah, I don't have clarity. I thought they just built it off of the worst performing assets in my portfolio right now. All those are, like, pretty good buys, I think, right now, so it's a good time
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
hairy.
that's the other thing. I think they like looked at the 0xB1 wallet, and then of those tokens, they looked at like what is the best performing tokens, and then what are the tokens that are, if you're evaluating it, are from a valuation perspective, like the cheapest tokens. Um, and then it goes like heavy into those two extremes, and with a light allocation in the middle. And yeah. That's I think you can get in that index and then stake it and start getting index tokens. I think that's how that works. But I'll admit I haven't had time to use index finance. It's too many
There's too
dot
many
finance.
traded markets.
But moving on, we have another protocol adopting, or I guess supporting, SushiSwap. Liquidity Driver is adding support for phantom-based SushiSwap LP tokens. Uh, Liquidity Driver is, um, I've not used it, and uh, is, if you're farming krill right now over on Polygon, I believe Liquidity Driver is essentially a platform like what's it called? Polywhale, I think is what that
Yeah,
what it's called.
Polywhale is real.
Um,
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
you know it better than me.
And so you can, if you have liquidity in SushiSwap on Phantom, then you can, re rehypothecate. I think that's the correct way to say that word. Your LP tokens and start earning some yield on it, which is pretty sick. Um, And then last we had Block 49 Capital tweeting out about the SushiSwap V3 updates in that they had gathered from the GitHub, I believe. and you can find that tweet on their Twitter, twitter.com/block49capital. But they mentioned, it has franchise pools. There's going to be a new LP curve options coming out with the miso, double
Oh, that's
yield, so you'll be able to stake and get yield from like a partner project, and then also sushi. A lot of stuff coming through. Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
no, I was interrupting. I didn't realize that these were that you can choose which type of market maker curve you're using, the balancer versus the curve versus the typical AMM. So that's through miso. You make those choices, or I was just unclear on that from the post. What exactly?
Yeah, I believe that is through miso. For launching tokens.
Makes
Not
sense.
100% certain though. Um, alright, so we have, that's it for all the, like, news and developments, unless anybody has any topics that they know off the top of their head that I, didn't bring up. Just gonna pause for a moment, just in case anybody wants to say something.
I mean, personally, I wanted to bring up. I just found interesting. It was leaked through Popsicle Finance and got retweeted by them, but that the Onsen rewards program is going to be multi-chain now was news to me. I don't know if that had been announced elsewhere. So that was like pretty exciting. The idea of Onsen catching the new releases on some of these other platforms that we've launched on.
Yeah,
That got me pretty
there's pretty big Onsen updates coming or, like, coming down the pipe, I should say. Yeah, like, they wanna make it multi-chain, they wanna have it, like, be more responsive um, to the amount of liquidity, that's being deposited, stuff like that, and the trade volume as well. Um, but
well.
yeah.
On that topic, I would love to see them allocate a little bit more to the Sushi ETH pool in terms of rewards for that, because like it's like pitifully low right now. And I've gotten wrecked a little bit by the impermanent loss and stuff. And it's like, huh, I cut my losses here and just take the impermanent loss? I mean, I know sushi is gonna go up, but so is ETH. I just feel like it needs to be it's our token, so it should be rewarded more in case any of the big guys are listening.
Yeah,
I think it's like 28% or something.
oh, sorry, what'd you say?
I think it's like 28% right now that we're getting, which is pretty damn low when you're spoiled by yields elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, if you're spoiled by, like, 1,000% APY somewhere else,
Exactly. The next generation of entitled farmers.
so I wanted to, move on to the proposals. I'm gonna talk about the Sushi Art Class proposal first, and then we can talk about the, KPI options. Um, but this is a proposal created by Kino on the forums. It's called Sushi Art Class of 2021. And I'm just going to read a excerpt that I took out of it. Uh, I propose to alleviate these artists' struggles by launching the Sushi Art Class of 2021, giving out 5 scholarships of 60,000 USDC per year to be funded, or for, sorry, 60,000 USDC per year for ambitious artists to push this part of our community forward. To be funded are new advances in interweaving crypto and art, personal development, and community outreach. The funding for a 1 year period shall provide the security artists need to plunge themselves into this exciting world. SushiSwap has no expectancy for this project except for one piece of work to be presented by the artists as an addition to the sushi gallery at the end of the scholarship. The sushi gallery will be safeguarded by the Sushi Ops wallet and displayed in a to be determined digital universe. The jury shall consist of sushi core team members and angels of the NFT universe. So there's a lot that needs to be sort of expanded on there in that proposal in terms of like it says the jury shall consist of sushi core team members and angels of the NFT universe. Like, I guess names and a list of who those people would be good. But I I really like this idea, this sort of year-long scholarship for, an artist to be sort of supported, and they can a full year is a long time to be making art, so I would be surprised if they only came out of it with a single art piece.
Yeah, I love seeing all of the, like, altruistic and just generally supporting, like, good good vibe things that Sushi is doing, and, I think that some really cool things that will both benefit the platform and the NFT industry could come out of this, and it's Sushi often has been on the cutting edge of trying new things, so to see them pushing this kind of philosophy of how DAOs can be applied to, like, really benefit the arts and to, like, support, the growth of the industry is beautiful. I really I'm a big yes on it, and I'm curious about the like, in the sentence where they talk about interweaving crypto and art, personal development, and community outreach that, like, seems like strange things to, um, be in an art class, like, I don't, um, have the mental association of personal development, with art, so I there's more that I'd like to be fleshed out on what exactly they mean, because both personal development and community outreach are things that I've been passionate about at different times, but I put a pen in my hand, and you're not gonna like what you see, a couple hours later, so I don't know if this is my thing, but I just love the creativity Sushi's bringing.
Yeah, I guess maybe what they were thinking with the personal outreach bit is like reaching out to community members who are like ready and willing to contribute in some way, and then by supporting them with a financial grant, it enables them to basically like ramp up their
Oh,
contributions, right? And
yeah, I see.
I think that, I
It's
mean, I
personal
haven't
d
had any personal conversation, so I don't know if that's what they meant by that, but that's sort of what uh
yeah, it's
the
developing being funded to develop the skills, so it makes sense. Just
yeah.
when I hear development, I think of, like, growth and, like, yeah, emotional intelligence and be shit like that.
Yeah, but
It
there was a
just
lot of positivity on the Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't wanna cut you off.
it's all right here. Yeah, I was just in regards to that proposal. With when we look at this as this is essentially 30,000 or 300,000 USDC getting put out for that, and just with the expectancy of what is it saying? It has no expectancy of this project except for one piece of work to be presented by the artist. For the end of it. Um, Realistically, it's great to be supporting arts, and I'm all for that. Do consider myself a bit of an artist as well, but I feel like there's definitely more expectation that we could have from that, especially with that kind of capital to allocate towards that. So either short, like if that is the expectation that we're looking for, there's probably 60K is a significant chunk of money, and perhaps that could either be smaller and we could still and giving out five of them as well. It just seems like a lot of money to be for this type of thing. And I mean, it's great that we're supporting and we're actually trying to engage the community with this. Yeah, I just feel like that's for that kind of money, like there's some significant expectations that we could have from that. But and not to say that it shouldn't be that way, but yeah, we could probably engage more to help to having expectations to help grow the ecosystem and grow the community as well. So just putting some expectations on that might push that forward in more benefit for the entire ecosystem. So just a little thought there, anyways, on that one.
Yeah, no, I totally agree that, and yeah, like I even said, like, while I was saying it, that like I would be shocked if they, like, after an entire year, $60,000, all they had was just like a single art piece. Like that would, yeah. I totally get where you're coming from on that. And yeah, like maybe I don't know. Do you think maybe like multiple art piece requirement or some other type of um factors that we should be looking at in terms of what type of uh artists, could get that type of support?
Yeah, I mean, we could. There's a lot of things that could be discussed on that, but realistically, $60,000 is a relatively well-paid salary for a year. I don't
Yeah.
know very many artists that would make such a thing. So, that's to going from, hey, you just got to come up with one piece of art to be presented, to basically, a full-time salary is really where we're at. So, um, there's probably a ton of expectation. I know if I was if this was if I was running a business that was suggesting that, even just as a payment plan, like, I would have a lot of expectations from that, and not necessarily to make it in a negative way or anything, but like, this is an opportunity for us to use this kind of capital to like really expand and bring in people who can actually grow our ecosystem, as compared to just like trying to make one really cool piece of art. And sure, some other stuff might come as well, but that could go, like we're saying here, with community engagement. That could be a huge part to help us. Um, we could have, other outreaches, like what they're like, going to other platforms to be, showing this art case. And I know NFTs are becoming a really big thing right now. Perhaps we can, yeah, promoting it on different social platforms and whatnot, and engaging. It would almost become like a total engagement for NFTs with these things, or with this artwork, and almost like we could make a whole NFT game or whatever with this. And now that we're moving, especially with sushi moving to, or implementing layer 2 solutions, that's got me pretty excited, because I mean, I was frustrated with gas prices on ETH before, months ago. So now with especially with Polygon or Matic, perhaps there's like simple ways of us to create a ton of art and put it on there and engage with our community and get people involved with the NFTs on that side of it. So there's like a whole, perhaps, ecosystem there that we could create, rather than just as an an art grant. It could now be like, this whole ecosystem that we could create around art, NFTs, and using it on layer 2, and then engaging that within what Sushi's trying to do with layer 2 solutions, and promote that as well. So it becomes this big promotion of like what's all happening within the ecosystem, even promoting Cashy, promoting all the things that we really want to see, that we're pushing and trying to grow and keeping ourselves different. So, that yeah, there's just a little insight there, but you know, I think, as an artist, there's definitely more that they could offer, especially for $60,000, and to hand out 5 of them. Like, that could, like, that's a significant chunk that we could really, really, expedite the community with. So yeah, just some thoughts there. I'm sure other people will have some things to say about that too. So yeah.
I guess like my assumption was that it was to not limit the scope of what this artist wants to build, and that like maybe it's one piece for our NFT trading platform. I do agree that like especially with like DAOs, there's a tendency, like if you have a self-starter type that is going to really be pushing themselves hard, that will work fine with these ambiguous terms. But we're pulling people from community. Maybe they've already created free images for sushi that's gone on our social media or something. But there needs to be more definition and more clear rules. And like, while it's good to do altruism, benefiting the community and the brand is really what, um, I think the investors want. So I do agree with your need for clarity, defined roles, and to really not just make this a we're giving out money and hope something will come clean, to actually have where something will benefit us, to really have like 10 dank memes. Just clear criteria. I think one thing that DAOs need is real clear agreements. It's something that it seems like it's prone to disorganization, and part of the ways to navigate that is through clear agreements.
What decentralized organizations being disorganized? What are you talking about?
Other than sushi,
I've never
obviously.
heard that. No one's ever said that. Um, but yeah, I am in total agreement about the art proposal. There's like a plethora of different directions that that base sort of proposal can be taken in ways that can be like feedback in like some people are talking about like how like it's possible that like if these artists create different artworks then we could then uh, sell periodically mints of their artworks and then have that feedback into the Sushi Protocol. But yeah, I I don't know. I don't know enough about real world art scholarships. Like I wonder does like Bank of America do art scholarships for artists where they're just like we'll judge you. We'll all the CEOs will come together and judge your art and we'll choose who we like the best and then we'll give you $60,000. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't sound too unrealistic.
That's
I don't
funny.
know the a circle. I like the idea of the circle of CEO, bank CEOs all going around and shaming an artist. The image that when you bring that up, this comes to my mind. It seems entertaining. Like kind of, who's that? Sing Simon from that singing show. I don't. I shouldn't be trying to make these pop culture references, but
Oh, Simon Paul?
yeah, something like that.
Who you're I can't remember his name either, and you're like you set me down a train track to the wrong side of the road. All right, so moving on to the other proposal we have, the last proposal we have to talk about this week is the build KPI options with UMA to speed Cashy adoption proposal put forward by Clayton from UMA. Um, Orion, do you want to talk about this one? You seemed like you had a better grasp of it than I do.
Yeah, well, so if I'm not sure if our audience will know of the UMA airdrop, one of the ways that you would get that was through participating in sushi governance. So I got these KPI options for UMA for free. I got airdropped those, which are based off of how much they're an option based off of how much total value locked their protocol has and the price of the token. Um, so that was their airdrop, and there's basically trying to use this kind of concept of gambling on options to incentivize people to use the Kashi platform. They built this beautiful new creation and getting adoption in a world of lower gas fees on some of these other chains and stuff. Just people aren't really wanting to try new smart contract platforms if it's going to end up costing them $30 or whatever it is, just to see if it's something that's profitable. So I really think that if we can get people to just try Kashi, it will be a great outcome. I so there was multiple criteria that they were looking at for doing the sushi airdrop. I think it was they're looking at, was it 10 or 50,000 sushi? It was some pretty large number that they're going to do in an airdrop. 60 million worth of cash, 5 million sushi tokens. The proposal misspelled sushi tokens, so that's a little judgment right there. But they're going to take all these sushi tokens to buy options and airdrop them. They don't say what the airdrop criteria will be. I assume I know someone in the chat was like, "Oh, can this be to ex sushi holders or something?" Which, yes, it's good to benefit the community as a whole, but we are specifically talking with the goal of two criteria: either driving volume to Sushi Swap or increasing the TVL for Kashi, or just the amount. It's kind of hinted at. Through the team's response, particularly Clearwood, his response to it, that TVL doesn't necessarily isn't the metric that is most important for Kashi, because there's a whole bunch of lending pairs, and if you're just supplying a asset that no one's borrowing, it doesn't really help adoption of the protocol. Really, what we need to target is the people lending, and particularly people organic lending. So there's a few ways that they can do this, where they could either do it based off of the total transactions or average. Um, Okay, well, I'll back up. There was an interview with Uma of Maki, something we didn't mention in the news and updates, that goes into this a little deeper. But part of the problem with this is they can be very gamified. If you have these options with a lot of money on the line, people just deposit a whole bunch of TVL last minute. So they're going to take a weighted average. Um, so it's just trying to think of creative ways that you can incentivize um, adoption, participation, or metrics that you want to achieve in your protocol um, through these. I mean, basically, kind of having people be invested other than just in the protocol fees that they would get from people adopting Kashi. Uh, I have, I, I like question. I referenced the UMA airdrop, the first one that they did, and they haven't really built much total value locked through this, which kind of shows that it's less rigged than like Maki had fears that people would try to rig this stuff, and it hasn't really happened for Uma. But it also kind of shows that it doesn't necessarily, just because people are gambling on it, it doesn't drive the outcome. Um, they were hoping that, oh, if we give all these DeFi active people this thing that will be worth more, if they do something, they'll do that something. But I don't know that it quite works like that, because I haven't seen a mass amount of, like, for instance, people buying the sushi options that they had last month. Um, so I kind of question whether this would drive Kashi adoption. I like One of the things that would excite me would be like if we could get more strategists for like yield optimizers to build on top of Kashi, and I don't know if that's something that could be incentivized through this, but that was just like that in loan, in particularly loaning out, I mean borrowing, sorry, I had said loaning earlier, but borrowing is the thing that really shows adoption. And of Kashi's thing is to drive 80% efficiency or 80% utilization in these lending pairs. So another metric they could do would be average number of weighted pairs that are at utilization, like within a certain percentage of utilization. I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's a clear metric that would really make this worth it? And is it any better to, like, right what they're doing right now where you can loan on when you're borrowing on, I mean, when you're loan is it God, I can't even that's how confusing Kashi is for me. I can't remember which I haven't gotten the yield rewards for it, but I think it's you're lending the money. It's not based off of borrowing, um,
Yes, yeah, it's the
in
lend.
that is yeah, so right now they're incentivizing lending and it's mildly efficient because a lot of these pairs, especially any pair that uses that where people can borrow US dollars, it's really that needs to be incentivizing because everyone's so bullish in crypto that they don't want to be shorting crypto in a bull market. There's that whole saying that you don't want to short crypto, you don't get rich shorting crypto in a bull market.
Mm,
Incentivize the right pairs, and I don't know if it's really achieving what they want. And is that any different from this indirect roundabout way where they're incentivizing adoption? I don't know that it achieves what what we're seeking. And oh, I guess I didn't notice reading this the first time. They do address who should receive the airdrop. And they say gather community feedback from Sushi, integrate into a proposal with more specific details of the airdrop and construction. So maybe toss this out to both you, Turtle, and everyone else here. What are the criteria that we should seek to do a future airdrop? I know we have we've had worries about both form and governance participation's a big thing we're wanting to drive as well, and that's always a place to look. And Kashi integration is part of what we're looking. If we give it to people who've borrowed on Kashi, I think that would be a great way to speed up the adoption as well. What are your thoughts on metrics and on who we give the sushi to?
So the airdrop
Oh, and
is a proposal to airdrop the option itself?
yes, the sushi and the
I
treasury
see.
will be used to purchase the options, and the options will be airdropped to a given part of our community. And they're also in this kind of looking. I mean, I guess this is written by UMA, but they're looking for someone to take point on writing the UMA improvement proposal for the option token. UMA would pay a bounty for this and would accept a matching bounty from Sushi if they were inclined. So, yeah, opportunity.
Yeah, it's interesting, it's interesting to airdrop the option. Um, oh, no, I what was I gonna say? What was I gonna say, Ryan? It
Well,
slipped.
I was asking you what are the criteria for the airdrop,
Oh,
or what are the metrics that you think this option would be most successful for?
well, the criteria for airdrop, I mean, if the airdrop is supposed to be like an additional incentive to basically promote Cashy usage, as I understand. Correct.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's kind of vague, but especially in the Maki interview, it seemed like that was goal, or to get more volume on Sushi Swap, but I don't see this achieving that goal
I don't know.
very
Yeah,
well.
I think we should pull like a uni and like airdrop everybody who's like interacted with Cashy or Bento Box after like a month or two, or maybe like just a month from now or something like that. Um, an airdrop you know, uh, um, like some of these options. But also, sorry, the thing that was on my mind that I kept on trying to catch again was when you were bringing up the yield on the Cashy pairs. Um, Currently, the way it's set up is they just applied one allocation point to all the chain link pairs on Cashy. So that's how they like set it up right now. So there's like no real granularity or like definition to those allocation point decisions. It's just across the board small incentive to get some liquidity in there.
Hey, just
Eh,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh yeah, go ahead. No. You go ahead.
Yeah, just in regards to incentivization here with towards Cashy. Of course, lending and borrowing, both sides of it are necessary for this whole ecosystem to exist. So I wouldn't suggest on one side or the other to be airdropping. And then is it like I don't know what they're capable of or how in depth they want to go with it and how much of a chain analysis they'd like to do, but realistically, the more pairs that you're contributing to, that should increase your airdrop as well, right? There shouldn't just be like, oh, if you interacted with Cashy,
Yeah.
everybody should be the same. I really feel like it needs to incentivize more diversity among within Cashy. So different pairs, and then both on lending and borrowing, and maybe there's weighted averages for that as well. With like if you lend, you get X amount, and if you borrow, you'd have X percentage, and then for each pair that you're a part of, there's also an allocation point for that as well. To me, that makes the most sense. But whether that's something that they're willing to go through and deal with, might be a little more work than just did this address interact with it? But that would be the most fair way to go with it, I'd say. Yeah, if that's what our goals are with these KPI options, is to grow the Cashy ecosystem.
We also don't want bots to just like farm all the airdrops just by like depositing $1 into every single Cashy pool and
Well, sure, and
stuff
then
like
you
that.
need to have limits on everything, right? Like there's that classic story of what was it, Ledger Status, that went around and he deposited a whole bunch of things, but he was only put $17 into on Uni, or what was it for the Uni drop, I think, and he ended up like traded $17 on a whole bunch of wallets, and they needed $20 in volume or something in order to get it, so he like missed out on a whole bunch of them. So yeah, there's how you avoid the spam as well, as by putting limits. And like we need significant amount of volume to go in, so even like the incentive of an airdrop with like, okay, we need volume there, so it's like, yeah, you're not just going to provide liquidity for like $5. That's not going to cut it, right? And especially with gas prices, it's not going to make sense to do that. So it needs to be like a significant number there as well with the pairing. And whether that's I don't know whether that's like if you go as low as like $1,000 or something worth of value to lock in, or if it's something higher where we're actually significant volume growing. I'm not really sure where that number should be, and that's probably
I think
better
it should
for.
also be like a certain duration that you have to have it in, because if it's
Yeah, good
like
point.
any duration, then you could just
Yeah, in and
hit the
out. And,
quota on one wallet, swap to the next.
yeah, no, and that's a very good point as well. Again, with that time weighted period might be a little trickier, because realistically, if like I see Cashy as like a cross margin trading platform. I mean, I come from kind of more of that side of things, and that's why Cashy is kind of interesting to me, because this is cross margin as far as like from what I see, right? So you know I've got my asset. I'm putting in whatever Bitcoin. Let's say Wrap Bitcoin is going in there. So this is a great way to bring any of the Bitcoin people in that want to trade on DeFi. Wrap Bitcoin goes in, you kick out USDC, and then you buy more Bitcoin with it. Or you buy, hey, I've got Bitcoin, but I want to long Ethereum right now. So there's that option, right? So, but that trade might only be a, a day or two trade, especially when it comes to, price movements and people doing that. So that might be harder as well, especially when it's on the borrow side. When it's on the lend side, yeah, maybe it's that time period might be more appropriate. But when you're borrowing, yeah, maybe it has to be like how
Mhm.
many, like maybe there's, I don't know, that one again might need some attention. But just a point there on the time period is that yeah, there's not. I don't know that we're going to see too many people borrowing for 2 weeks at a time, purchasing an asset and sitting out on it. Especially in this market where so much is happening. So I don't know, just an attention point there. But I mean, people that are maybe some other people have some ideas about that.
No, yeah, that's great points. I really appreciate you contributing. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I want airdrops, and I would like further incentivization for Cashy. It just has to be. I don't know. I'll be giving the talk where Maki talked with the UMA people. I'll listen because I believe in that talk they at some point discuss vulnerabilities or like how they can stop it from being manipulated. Um, I'll have to like dig into those solutions a bit more. Um,
Uh, It was heavily based on the time weighted averages that
it
we'd kind
was
of
okay.
just, yeah. And I think it's impossible to avoid, especially if there's enough adoption of these options outside of the airdrop. I guess there's a little like, is this something they're going to be offering to everyone, or is this unique to me? I don't know if the UMA was unique to just the airdrop or if that's purchasable by anyone. Um, I'm not the most familiar with the protocol, but my UMA airdrop becomes more valuable if they mint $50 million worth of options. So, um, I have a very
This
small
guy trying
financial
to
benefit
pump his
from it.
bags.
Yep. Every dollar.
But so that is all the notes that I've prepared for this week. Does anybody have any topics, concerns, questions, riddles, etc. that they would like to bring up? It's totally open forum. Like it's intended, to, to uh, this platform is intended to be open to talk about whatever people want to talk about. So
Maybe just in as we're still talking about the UMA KPI options,
yeah,
was there any discussion around maybe even helping incentivize layer two solutions as well with the KPIs, with KPI options? Was that I'm not sure if that was really discussed too much. I know the Cashy part was really focused, but just curious if that's something that people are interested in, or if that's something that they might be, and if that's actually something we need, or if like just the perhaps incentives um, for for LPs and farmers coming from multi-chain stuff is enough, or if this would help incentivize. But I don't know. I'm excited
yeah.
about L2. So anything on there, seeing especially seeing Matic and Phantom quite responding positively to that as well. So
Yeah, I've
maybe
not
we'll see.
used Phantom yet, but I've used Polygon, and Polygon is really, really slick and easy to use. Um, uh, for Cashy, I do not believe Cashy is on any of the layer twos yet.
Finance Smart Chain, it's on.
Oh, it is?
Um,
Okay.
I played around with it tonight randomly.
Is it only on Binance Smart Chain? Is that the only one?
It's the only one I tried. I haven't messed around
Because I
on
looked on
Phantom.
Polygon and I didn't see the Cashy.
I know they
Um,
launched MasterChef everywhere. I believe Kashi they launched in a lot of places. But now that I'm kind of thinking about it, there's that click down menu that might only have said Ethan. Yes.
okay, well, I'll have to confirm. I mean, I trust you that you say it's on Binance Smart Chain. Um, yeah, and I also know that cross-chain L2 incentives through the Onsen program are coming. So basically, there'll be pairs that can be incentivized over on Polygon or Phantom or Binance Smart Chain. that are not incentivized on Ethereum because the token's not from Ethereum. Stuff like that.
It
Yeah, I'm just
appears
looking
that it's
now,
everywhere.
and I don't see Cashy on Phantom, for example, and
Oh,
switching to BSC here. I'll maybe just look at that quick while we're there. But yeah, don't see it on Phantom to start.
when I
But
selected
yeah,
Matic, it's showing me a bunch of like highish APRs, and I don't know if it's just wrongly loading Ethereum or not. It's showing
Are
question marks
you
by the market.
in the Cashy UI when you
Yeah, I'm in
switch
the
to it?
Cashy UI, and then I click
Yeah,
down
I
the
think that's the
select a
issue.
yeah,
network.
that's the
Because
problem. Yeah, you have to, if you
if
go
you
back
if
to
you
like
just
Sushi
go,
Swap, yeah, just to the swap
yeah,
pool, and then switch your
Oh,
tabs. Like when I'm in Matic right now on swap, that, because that's kind of the main area to start, and then from there we just have swap pool and analytics. So
that's true.
Cashy is not yet on Matic, is what I'm seeing, but
See if it's different when
yeah,
I do BSC. What?
it is. Yeah, BSC gives you the option for apps. So
must be something to do with the EVM compatibility and something like that. I'm not a developer, so
yeah, I mean, if any of this stuff is, if it's happening on BNB, I mean, the rest of this is possible. So that's exciting to know that Cashy's possible on Matic and Phantom, or when it comes, because then it's really an easy way for people to just play around. Like some of my, like I was really pleased to use, like when any swap was started farming, like be able to go there and play around with like with Phantom and just seeing how fast and quick it works. And like I'm not worried about spending a whole bunch on gas fees and losing everything because I don't know what I'm doing. Like if you're just trying to
yeah.
understand that ecosystem, it's a great way to do it. Just be like, okay, I don't mind losing fractions of pennies to just see how this works and what the response is and like what is it actually doing, right? So I think it's a good way to get people involved in understanding like what it means, to utilize Cashy and how it can help. But again, getting volume locked on layer 2 inside of Cashy, that might be a bit of a challenge when, I mean, we're trying to bring first and foremost, getting any kind of volume into Cashy is going to be a little tricky just on mainnet. So yeah, let's see.
I mean, this is totally entirely speculation right now. It would be amazing if there was some sort of, I don't know if it's Phantom. I mean, I think Phantom's probably the most likely, given that they have all the Yearn stuff going on. But if Phantom could like bridge Cashy's assets to like multiple chains, so that you could access the Cashy liquidity from any chain. But that's just me fantasizing, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's something that's possible, like with multi-chain, and being able to use, I guess, yeah, that you'd have to, because you could perhaps build bridge, if we built bridges to that liquidity somehow.
How'd you find it?
I don't know. That might take that's a little bit
Like
out of my,
I was in Discord in 2017.
yeah,
Run then.
that might be.
Oh,
I got in Discord then.
Oh, we got some
Brian, could you mute your mic?
Terrible audio quality because something's wrong with my computer.
anyway. Yeah, that's maybe a little bit more technical than what I can bring up at this point. But yeah, there's probably a way to do that, especially just seeing like Matic and how easy it was to build like the Matic bridges to getting off of Ethereum onto Matic. But I know there's some
So
weighted,
that's
like
actually a
there's the
live
wait
chat they're
time
doing right
and
now
everything.
in Discord.
that's cool.
I think we're still having somebody's mic there.
I left.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, bringing in, like I say, from Matic, like it takes, I think they say 7 to 8 minutes just to get from Ethereum to Matic, and then coming back, I thought I saw some people having issues getting from Matic to Ethereum, but perhaps doing it within, like going from, the three quick ones here, if we want to call it, Matic, Binance Chain, and Phantom, there might be a way to try and tie and link all the liquidity to that. Yeah, and I don't know who that benefits the most, like between each of those chains, if they'd be comfortable doing that. That's also another question, as they're designed to steal liquidity from each other. But Yeah, there's it's an interesting thought to think about anyhow, and how to bring in liquidity from
Yeah,
all the
it
all the
vaguely
LTs.
reminds me. I mean, I'm sure I've heard. It must have been some conversation in some podcast that I was listening to that reminds me of this context, but reminds me of people talking about the early internet days when different internet networks had to build um, like connections between each other, and then all the networks were trying to basically charge each other to use their network to connect to different providers, and it was really sort of interesting little uh, I don't know, analogy.
So some of that stuff you're talking about does exist. There's the Xpollinate bridge, which is only for like USDC, USDT, and DAI. But it bridges between XDAI, BSC, and Polygon, where there is like an external liquidity that you can only do the transfer if the liquidity exists. And with Rubik, there is cross-chain swaps, only limited pairs, but I think that's going to be more and more. And Andre Cronje was tweeting, had a poll this week on his Twitter on what type of cross chain swaps do you want to see? Like the same asset on two different chains, different assets on different chains, like just talking the different gamut of different options there would be. Um, so I think it's not far away. I think more and more we're gonna just see the quickness increase of being able to move the money between layers and um, networks.
Dude, I'm so excited for the day that we look back on like paying like, well, I don't know, maybe 500 Gwei will come back like, years down the line, but like I'm so excited for the low gas days of the future.
I can't wait for all the regret I have for the stupidly high gas prices I paid that I didn't need to, and ETH's worth 15K all of a sudden, and I'm all like, oh my goodness, I was so stupid.
If you're not paying 500 Gwei, then you're not even really trying to farm, in my opinion.
Yeah, I sometimes choose too high of gas levels just to show the world how rich I am in case anyone's looking at my transactions.
All right. Well, I think this is a good place to wrap it up. Wow, we actually went for an hour. I'm amazed. That we made it an hour with my terrible notes I took. Um, so yeah, thank you everybody who came out this week and participated. The sushi forum happens every week, same time, same place, uh, every Thursday at 9 p.m. UTC in the Sushi Swap Discord. Tomorrow we are having 2 AMAs in the Sushi Discord. Let me just get those times for you. Sorry. So yeah, tomorrow there's going to be an AMA at 7:30 p.m. UTC, and that is going to be an AMA with TrueFi, and then at 9 p.m. UTC we're going to have an AMA with Olympus DAO, and uh, yeah, so these should be awesome and really big, very active AMAs. Be sure to check them out. Tomorrow, just to repeat myself, and yeah. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks for coming out again. Ryan, do you got any closing words?
Nope, just again, thank you everyone for showing up, participating, and being part of the community discussion.
Awesome. Take it easy, everybody.